Here's what Infosys employees had to say on Glassdoor.com. Do you love bureaucracy? Asks a technology lead in San Francisco. Pros: a paycheck. If you are Indian and in need of an H-1B visa, this may be an option. Cons: oh, here we go. Incompetence is not only tolerated, but embraced. Everything must be approved on multiple levels by someone in India, which inevitably ends up taking weeks for even the simplest of tasks. If you're not Indian and working on Indian time, you will be excluded from meetings and important design decisions. Every decision made seems to be based on maximizing inefficiency in order to create the maximum number of billable hours. It sounds like a consulting company to me. Simple tasks that could be completed by a single competent developer in 24 billable hours without the bureaucracy become 480 billable hours, requiring multiple daily meetings with 10 or more developers in India. This is amazing. We need more stories from this company. It's a trap, says a software developer in Indianapolis. Pros: arrive to work whenever you feel like it. Get paid for 6 months to ride the bench doing nothing. Cons: instead of placing you on a new project, once your old one was done, they keep hiring new people to fulfill the promises they made to the state of Indiana so they get all the tax breaks. They then keep letting folks go. All management decisions are still made in India. Advice to management: at least move managers to the Plano office, if not the Indy hub. Remote management is failing. How do they stay in business? Asks a programmer analyst in Hartford, Connecticut. Pros: I can't think of any. Cons: lack of communication, disorganized, lack of direction, inept management. Advice to management: drastically improve communication, replace the entire tech support area, stop paying people to not work. What is going on at this company? Pros: they paid me even though I wasn't working on a contract. Cons: they were unable to find me any work in 18 months. Advice to management: don't hire people unless you actually have work for them to do. This guy's living the office space dream. Worst company I've worked for in 20 years. Pros: I had a salary and could work from home. Office internet was only provisioned for 20 people. Cons: stay far, far away. This is the worst management consulting company. Rated the worst. Was hired from 2 phone interviews only. They're that desperate. Worked in the quote-unquote special department run by ex-agency flunkies. They're known to expense strip clubs, etc. Infosys has been sued by New York State and in 2017 had 172 sexual harassment cases. No new stats reported. All Googleable. They make you sign documents that you won't litigate when hired. That doesn't apply to sexual harassment. You can file as I did with the EEOC. Oh, also travel expenses are only paid under threat of legal action and benefits are mostly out of pocket. Jeez. Long story short, was sexually harassed by 2 colleagues. One time in front of a female manager who did nothing. Managers are completely incompetent, male and female. I made them millions, hundreds of millions. I was told I was lucky and not credited to them. Not credited by them, but by the CFO. Also told by a female manager I was hired because I was blonde. Internal HR did nothing, encouraged the behavior by asking if I hooked up with a colleague after a business trip. He was way older and not at all anything I'd ever consider. Global HR is a waste of time and is only there to deflect anything against the company. I have media interest in my story. Very cheap and disruptive mentality. Pros: they is no redeeming qualities other than a U.S. employment venue for Indians. Cons: very poor HR and senior managers, badly trained and clueless. In comparison to Tata and Wipro, this company is the worst of the bunch. They take cheapism to a new height, will cut corners at every turn to the detriment of its customers. They are the worst choice for any customer. Beware. Infosys covers their lack of integrity by making you sign an employment contract that negates verbal promises, says a former employee out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Pros, they pay bench time while attempting to find your next assignment. Cons, they lied to me to get me to work for them, then covered their verbal lies in an employment contract. Beware. Low pay, marginal benefits. I never encountered one single American manager. I liken Infosys to slave drivers who provide cheap, mostly H-1B labor pawns to the plantation owners, American businesses, at the expense of American jobs. The American businesses that contract with companies like Infosys should be boycotted. Advice to management: pack your bags and go back to India. If you must stay, stop all lies and deceit to potential employees. Pay better, have better benefits, hire American managers who can more easily communicate with American employees. Visa abuser. Pros, you have a job, but your salary still not guaranteed. Cons, this body shopper is not paying their H-1B employees who came from India to the US when they're in between projects. Department of Labor should put the CEO of this company behind bars for this fraud. Now they are hiring other illiterate EB1C scammers who got green cards from other Desi body shoppers to reduce visa percentage. Benefits is also third grade. Think 1,000 times before joining this staffing agency. Advice to management: you guys suck big time. Worst company in the history of the world to work for. And we're going to see about that. Pros: impossible to get fired. There isn't really pros to this company. You might be able to get hired by them and put at a great company, but this is because Infosys has no standards when hiring. Cons: pay, culture, benefits, overworked employees, communication issues, terrible employee portal, and unethical treatment to employees in regards to relocation and compensation to relocate and break leases. My experience at this company was awful. My manager was so micromanaging that I was forced to look for other jobs. The pay was terrible. They pay $57,000 for a software engineer doing the job of a mid-level engineer and offer a 3K raise after a year. That is a joke. Also, many of the people they hire are foreigners who have no choice but to work their butts off for this company. If they don't, they risk deportation. Advice to management: please rethink the business model. You guys charge $80+ an hour and contractors don't even see $30 an hour. Beware Canadians and Americans, warns an anonymous employee out of Columbus. Pros: the only pros is that there is no pros. You will be stuck at a salary if you are hired in US or Canada and will be paid much less than the people they are importing from India. This company does discrimination, openly taking advantage of the government's loopholes. People who are green card holders of the USA or permanent residency card holders of Canada, or if you're a citizen, you will get less salary than the person coming from so-called offshore because they are on a work permit and the company has to show their documents to the government for approval. The government will reject if they're not providing market prevailing rates. When you ask the HR, first of all, they have no clue about their job. They will shoot some emails internally and the response will come that your salary is according to the GCM grid. This grid was updated 10 years ago, maybe, or God knows when. This is pure discrimination with US and Canadian employees. Just because our paperwork does not have to go to the government for visa approval, since we are already permanent residents or green card holders or citizenship here. About time this gets reported to the media. I wonder how will it reflect on companies' image they have built with clients. I'm guessing the clients do not care. You will be losing as much as $10,000–15,000 a year just because you are not a deputy from offshore and are a US or Canadian employee. Shame on you. I hope the government finds this discrimination soon and show them the way out of the US. You guys have stories about similar consulting companies? Let us know in the comments. Otherwise, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.